It's those kinds of beings that you were describing. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, he was assuming I was seeing small greys, but I actually wasn't. So he did ask me to describe them, and I do remember there were two very tall, like stick insect type ones, and they were like a horrible murky greeny color. I remember that it was like a frog kind of slimy green color, and their faces were a bit weird. They really like just like froggy, very froggy eyes, no noses, and huge, like sort of, I don't even know if it was a mouth, but it was like a thing like that, sort of, not in a smiley shape, but sort of like more, across
Just
like
a
that.
line, or did they have lips?
It was quite thick, but I don't know if there were lips that opened, but it looked like just a thing across there. I didn't see any opening or them moving or anything like that, but it just looked like, they just reminded me of like a frog, more than I was going to say
Well, frog
reptile then,
or
but
amphibious.
froggy,
Yeah.
amphibian kind of thing. But I'd say more of a frog kind of face than a
How many fingers?
lizard. I didn't see, but they were very, very tall. There were two of those, and those seemed to be, I want to say in charge or head of the other loads of other little ones. There were loads of other little ones that I couldn't actually see. They were just like white shapes, basically, like very white shapes. And they put this thing on my eyes so I couldn't see. I could just see them like that. So whether that was protecting me because they were so bright or something, or it gave me some focus because I could actually count how many were there, but didn't see features. But it was like that LED light, really bright, and when you got your eyes closed, when someone walks by, you can see the shape. It was actually like that. But this thing they put on my head, it also did something like, it's really hard to explain. It was like an explosion of colours, shapes, patterns. It takes you somewhere else, and not of this place. It just
Now,
took me
how did
somewhere
it
else.
take you somewhere else? How did
Whatever it is they put on there, it was
where
like it
where
just
did it take you to?
explodes in your brain, and it's like, but it's not a horrible thing. It wasn't horrible. That was quite a positive experience, I thought, even though the
Where did
beings
it
look
take you?
really. It's a way of communicating with them, I think, to communicate on their realm of communication, whichever way that is, and it is through your subconscious, and it's not in English language. It's in patterns and shapes and electrical pulses and things like that. So it's really hard to understand it when you come back down here because it's not of my knowledge on my conscious level. That's the only way I can describe it. But
Did it take
it
you
is.
to any locations or something?
No, you don't. I didn't physically move, I don't think. I don't think I physically moved. It's more of a mind
Yeah,
thing.
but what I'm trying to get at is,
Did it take my mind to another place?
did it
that I
take it
saw?
to another person or another
It took me
realm?
into a place that was just like in space, empty space. It's like there's nothing there. It's complete blackness, but you're like floating around together, like not even floating around because you don't actually see yourself. It's really hard to describe, but I knew I was there, if you know what I mean. But there's nothing to describe because you can see nothing. It's just total blackness. It's all what's happening. Everything that's happening is not visual with your eyes. It's like bursts of pulses and electricity and colours and patterns and really nice things like, like, I don't know, I've never had a trip, I suppose, but like a trip, you're going on a really nice, colourful trip of some sort that they describe when you're, on drugs or something like hallucinatory drugs. I've never hallucinated, so I don't
But what
know,
did
but
I mean? It must have
that's what it
taken
felt
you.
like.
Did it take you to a place where you saw something?
Well, that's what I said. It was just this place, it was empty space. What it was, it's like that thing, I think it connects you. I think it connected me to them because I could suddenly understand them, and it was like a group thing rather than an individual thing. It was like a 5 group thing all together. We could all
Oh, a group
all mix
consciousness.
together. That's what it was when they put that thing on my head. So I remember there were about 5 of them and me, so 6, and it's you're not on the ground. You haven't got your physical body, obviously, so you're not standing. I can't say I was standing in a place or standing in a building or standing in a room. All I can say was just black, empty, this, like the sky, empty, like being in the sky, but like being a dot. So you don't have to float, you don't have to do anything. You're just basically there with your eyes, and that's all you see. So I didn't really know if I was standing on anything, or but I just
Did you? Did they tell you anything? There was anything you learned or discovered or felt?
I felt that it was like, that was like definitely a burst of information. I'm getting a lot of information now, but because I've been so stressed and upset, I've been putting it on the back burner. I'm sort of saying, stop, I don't want to know, I don't want to know. So I just had too much on my mind to cope with. So I can actually separate my brain into compartments and put things in sections and deal with them. So that's how I deal with things. So I put that on the back burner. So when you need the head to do it. You need this is why meditation is probably good. You need to sit and take in the information and try and understand what's happened, because when you've got everyday things coming, you can't do it. This is why I'm going to Sri Lanka, one of the reasons as well. I wanted somewhere like that. I'm going to get the answers myself. Because I've been told over and over and over, the answers are in you already. You just need to find them.
When have you been told that?
All the time. This is what they keep saying all the time, the message. You already know the answers. You already know the answers. So they're in you already. So...
Well, it'd be very wonderful to...
So I am getting information. I mean, it's more or less, I even had something last night. I can't even remember what it was now, but something came to me last night. I thought, oh my God, it's a flashback. I'm getting loads of flashbacks lately, which I never, ever, ever had before. People have said, I get a flashback, and I used to think, God, that never happens to me. I wish I got some sort of flashback. But it's only now, the last, I'd say 3 years, I'm just, well, more now so in the last 6 months. I'm getting loads of information, and I really need to get it down, because I'm forgetting. The next day I forget. Something else happens and I forget. If I don't tell somebody... There were 12 scientists, I can describe them. They were huge. They were about 7 foot tall. Big crystal heads, huge crystal heads, but you could see through them. They were all made of crystal, but the heads were huge, like in proportion to the body. But the 12 of them were connected. They were it was a long table, and there were 6 each side, but the 2, I don't know if the 12 were connected, but the 2 facing each other definitely were, with 2 wires, like just 2 things that came from head to head. So I saw they were all attached, but you could see they were artificial. I could see through them. I could see, not mechanics, but yeah, like colours and like artificial lights sort of things, prisms, or that kind of thing.
Now,
like,
when exactly was this?
This was,
I mean, you referenced some things.
When I had the experience with the light beings was about 3 years ago in August, and it might be 4 years this August. I'm losing time sometimes, I forget where I am. It was when my sister died, basically, that episode I had the night before. I'm getting memories back now, flashbacks, and one of them are these 12 scientists that I was told they created.
I mean, that was the subject we were talking about. We're basically finishing this this major second 3-part section with Marie. And these flashbacks are telling you more and more information.
This was one of the stronger ones I had earlier, the early memory rather than a flashback. I remember this very well, and I was told that these were excuse me, the scientists that created us. They're working on human...
Well, we were going to keep the door open, but I think with the London police, we'll close it. I'll do that. Yeah.
It just gave me the impression that humans were actually artificially created anyway, and maybe we're just going to be...
Well, we're probably only about 10 minutes left of this. So, artificial humans, artificial scientists. So, in what environment, what context is this?
They were showing me that humans were artificially created in the first place, I think, by these 12 scientists, whoever they are. Maybe they're ongoing with the human project, I don't know, and this is what
this certainly is what other people have suggested, that we were created whoever brought us here, that the bottom line is we are all ETs on this planet from different places.
We're artificially created, definitely. We are a computer program. It can be worked out in a program.
And this has
whole
happened
human
before.
structure.
This has happened so we're going to sort of like a Mobius loop of some kind of.
It's quite possible. It does seem to be cycles.
Yeah, but what is your personal experience on this, as opposed to my conjecture?
Personal experience on what? Sorry?
Of what you're talking about. This, what makes you think that?
It's about the artificial humans. Well, when they show you an image, you get the knowing of what it is. It's a definite piece of information. I realised that over the years. It's definite, and they're the pieces that I actually put together in my search, because you can't rely on. As I said before, I never got flashbacks before, and I never knew what they were like until I had the light beings, and the way it came back in images, it was just. And then suddenly you think, how the hell did I think the other thing happened when this is the real memory? And you just feel so stupid.
We were also talking about, sorry to speed things up because we've only got about 5 minutes left, the continual repeating of coincidences, the way that things come up in your computer, the way that Gina was saying, like the things were happening and she could see things.
It was, because I saw them as well.
And your own personal.
Yeah, it's not in people's imaginations, this is happening.
So in a nutshell, what is your consensus? Right now in June of 2014? What do you think is the bottom line?
I don't feel the doom and gloom that you do. I think I don't think even if we were at the end of something, I don't think it might necessarily be a bad thing. But on the other hand, you can't deny the bad influence.
Well, the doom and gloom that I refer to is species termination of all life on Earth.
You can't deny there's something there.
And the black goo is coming up to fix that, from what I understand from my sources. Yeah. That we have a toxic predator which is hostile to all life.
If that black goo did happen, how would that fix us? That would wipe everything that was existing. That would wipe the last remains.
It would reset it and purge. The information that I have received from sources is that the black goo is here to fix our mess. So the logic to my view on the way things are, if we fix our mess, then the black goo is not going to need to fix our mess. So in other words, we
can't wait for that. I wouldn't wait for the black goo to fix the mess.
So you think that we should? So what is the mess really that we need to fix then, from your perspective?
To me, it's sad to say, I think we're in too much of a mess to ever fix, and this is why we get the end of cycles. We get to this point, and it's just so chaotic. Maybe it is part of the experimentation that they do. They're out of control. They are trying. To me, it seems like over the years and the experiences I've had and trying to put things together, it seems that they are trying to make something that's not working. That's the idea I get, and not just recent.
Who's they, and what are they making?
Who are they? They're obviously not Earthlings.
None of us are Earthlings, and we have.
Well, they're not of our reality here. They're not one of us. Basically, they are someone else.
Are these tall, spindly things? The 4 fingers on the light bulb.
This is what I'm going to have to find out and differentiate, and who, because you see different beings on the ship, like 2 or 3 different ones. So
how do you know it's a ship?
Sometimes I can tell the ship, and you can tell because you can see it. You can see the controls, and you can see things.
As opposed to an secret underground base, or how do you know it's moving, or it's isolated? How do you know it's?
Oh, well, it doesn't. You don't feel it moving. You just see the little
what
room.
makes you know it's a ship as opposed to a control room in a lump of rock or on top of a skyscraper?
Because a couple of the times I saw them coming, and they were there, and then suddenly I'm gone, zapped, and back. So a couple of times I actually saw them. And no,
or is it a portal? Is it some kind of portal that opens up?
How did they get me from the house? Well, I don't know that bit, but I know how I came back. I mean, I think I mentioned that. It's part of the regression. I found that out when they bring you to the black mat, and then the tube comes down, and it's just like Star Trek, really. There's a couple of them, and the tube comes down. And very briefly,
the next stage really is that you're going to go through the regressions that you did with Dr. Jacobs. And you're going to then say, look, I feel this is right or that's wrong, or...
Oh, there was a lot that I didn't say that was actually happening, but I just couldn't be... as I said, I don't know if it was part of the hypnotic
and is that something that you can do on your own?
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah. I can do it.
so you
I
could
can do that
compile
tonight,
that
yeah,
before you go
yeah.
to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, it's only an hour long, so it's
Right.
not going to be easy. I can do that tonight, probably. Yeah.
Well, I feel that the one thing that's happening here is that the tapes are about to run out.
I didn't mention that
We filled up
after
one chip
regression,
and another chip on this, so we've...
the after
yeah,
regression
okay.
bit, which was really important, I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
After the regression, I mean, it just finished, and they said, okay, you can go home and we'll talk to you later. So they stayed to chat, and I just went home. But I couldn't actually physically wake up for about 3 weeks. It was really awful. I was literally... They didn't wake me up properly or something, or maybe I thought... They said it never happened before, and it's not usual. Everything people always say, oh, it's not usual, it's not usual. I'm used to hearing that, but... For him to say, well, that's not usual, that never happened before, sort of worried me a bit. So I don't know if they know what they're doing. He didn't appear to know what he was doing to me. I was so disappointed. But the way they left me afterwards for that 3 weeks, there was no call to check if I was all right. I did sort of briefly emails, like, just can't wake up. I don't know what's going on. I just cannot wake. I was waking up to get drinks and falling asleep while waiting for the kettle to boil like this on the cabinet, and just falling asleep in the loo, going for weeks, falling asleep. I just could not wake up. And they never got back to me. Then I heard David Jacobs had a heart attack, but it wasn't serious, and then he was back doing conferences the following week, so it wasn't actually that serious. They could have got back to me. But then I think I had David Jacobs was having was doing a sort of a lecture in Oxford, and it was sort of, I wasn't invited to that because Dr. Young was worried his wife might get jealous. So I'd booked a hotel down there, especially for the day.
He was worried that his lovely wife
get jealous, and I'm supposed to be working with him now on a project for 10 years. His wife might get jealous if I turn up at the thing. So I said, oh look, I don't want to cause any uncomfortable, I'll cancel the hotel, forget about it. He said, oh no, maybe my wife won't come. And it turned out his wife didn't come, and he texted me, my wife's not coming, you can come. I just basically said, I wanted to say, tell him where to go, but I said, look, no, I've made plans, it's too late now. But that's what happened. So I just got a bit uppity in the way they left me. Then it was Gina's 21st birthday on the 8th of October, the day he did after the lecture. And then I had Gina's first year anniversary. And then my mum died. And then there was Christmas and there was New Year. So not even one call from any of them to say, how are you? What's happened? Nothing. I don't know if, I never got back to them to see if the David Jacobs wanted to carry on working, so I don't know what Dr. Young said to him. He did try to control me a little bit, and I'm a bit annoyed now because you see, people were coming to me like as a lifeline, and because I had so little support, you grab on to anything, so I was trusting to many people, and they turned out to sort of just screwed me again, and it was just fake people. So I just got to the stage where I just thought, oh God, is it everybody? What is wrong with everybody? So I just cut everybody off, and straight away, I have no tolerance level for nonsense anymore. And I just don't know what's wrong with people, to be honest. I really don't. I'm flabbergasted at some of the things people say, and so I just cut them off straight away. I don't want to know, bother somebody else, I'm gone. So I've no tolerance whatsoever. So people might say, God, she's very rude. And he said this, but I can tell when people say something and they mean something else. You can tell the tone of something, and you can tell people are trying to start fights with me all the time for no reason. Just stupid school things,
Yeah.
I'm not at school, and neither are they. They're grown adults supposed to be, and they're just acting like kids. But that's what I find. So I just cut everybody off who annoys me, and
well, I think
games straight away.
When you have these kind of issues, it's a sensible and logical thing to do.
Yeah, it's helped.
We're not messing around here.
Because you can move on. They're dragging you into silly things, and then the next day it's another drama, another drama, another drama. I don't need more drama in my life, thank you.
Okay, well, I don't know if the other cameras are running, so I'm doing on this little thing here. What do you feel that those programs or what were the programs that Dr. Young and it was specifically referring to, and are you going to go ahead with that, or is that
I'm not going to go ahead with it because I just sort of said I'm really surprised that you didn't even contact me or find out how I was, and how can you, if your wife's getting jealous, and what's all that about, how can we work together for years of these issues are arising already.
Yes,
And,
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't even know what.
But anyway, I'm getting another little battery alarm here, so...
So I just thought, no, too much
Yeah.
messing about from the get-go. He wasn't genuine at
okay.
all. And
well, we'll have to
stopped
wind
him.
up
Yeah.
with respects to Dr. Young and also...
No disrespect to David Jacobs.
And
He's
David
actually
Jacobs.
working with Dr. Young in good faith, and he came over and did the regression as a favour. You know, he didn't charge me or anything
Yeah.
else. But I really think the aftercare should be a bit more thoughtful, and it's
And really
not,
this whole subject needs a
He
lot...
needs
we need to bring the whole thing up.
I think David Jacobs was stuck
But
in
we
20
are-
years ago. He knew
Yeah.
he's not looking at anything else
Yeah.
except the hybrid program, which I don't think it exists, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that's
In other words,
what it
look at the data before we make
is. He's
too
made up
many
his mind
conclusions.
years ago, and he's not
And
changed
really,
it.
that's what the basis project,
Yeah.
my thing is, very briefly.
He's not moving with the times where
Yeah.
we are. When new information comes, you've got to change
Yeah,
your
you've
mind.
got to change your mind.
He hasn't. So that's what I said to him. You know, I have to give it
Anyway,
to you for
Marie,
sticking with it.
we're out of battery, out of time. We got to get out of this nice little
Yeah.
apartment. Oh, that's it.
I can get the credit for that.
I don't know if that's still running, but well, Marie, thanks very much. The Basis project is about raw information for researchers. I try not to draw too many conclusions. I think you've just been saying before the batteries ran out that other scientists are drawing conclusions and sticking to them
Without looking at the other data that's coming in
And
continually.
the whole point of you going over your regression and talking about it is that really you feel that the regression was steered to an old conclusion.
Definitely,
But
and
new information.
people are looking at regression as the final thing to give them answers. It's not going to give you answers. You know what you're saying. You sort of, it's not reliable information. They're leading. They can put words in your mouth, pictures and scenarios, and this is what David Jacobs tried to do. Because my mind has worked in that way, like not to accept things or just, you know, I tend to think. I'm thinking, no, he's not what he's saying. I don't like what he's saying. It's not right. So I was able to pick it up.
We look forward to you producing.
There's some good information in there, and it's raw information.